Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel, and a couple of heartbreakers in the soon to be buffed FV4202. Now, this tank I absolutely adore. It is one of my favorite tanks in the game because it has the Hesh. The Hesh is absolutely amazing, and this tank is about to get even better because it is getting a speed buff. I don't really think it needs a speed buff. I think the tank is actually okay as it is. If anything, I would not even give it a speed buff. Maybe give it like a turret buff or something like that. Maybe make it a little bit stronger. But other than that, this is only really a good tank if you know how to deal with the Hesh. Now, there are a couple of guns that you could choose on the tank. If you're not used to Hesh and you don't really like the Hesh, then of course you can run the heat gun, which in certain situations is a bit better because you can penetrate the front of tanks a lot easier. Whereas the Hesh, if you can't penetrate the front of the tank with APCR, you are really with the sort of AP, sorry, or whatever ammo it uses, then you are going to struggle. APCR, sorry. Then you are going to struggle penning it with Hesh, and you can't really do much then if you are facing a tank. You have to get around either the side of them or the rear of them. Whereas if you do use the heat gun, then yeah, you can penetrate much easier. Of course, Hesh doesn't always work, as you can see here against the VK168, which is only a tier 8 tank in a tier 10 matchup. But already you can see his team are absolutely vanishing. It is a 4 versus 6 at the moment, and he's gonna be pretty much left on his own. But he is trying his hardest. He's trying to get the Hesh shots out as much as he can just to up his DPM. Obviously, a couple of them have failed, but a couple of them have gone in, just like that one in on the IS-7. So there is a couple of tanks around. I would honestly leave the VK168 because that's not really that dangerous. Yes, it is a heavy tank, but there are other tanks around that are more dangerous, and one of them is, I would say, that Type 61, and of course the IS-7 up there and the E75. Of course, there is another FV4202 on the enemy team that also has the Hesh, so he needs to pick his targets out wisely, and that there was a beautiful shot on the Type 61. But it's now a 2 versus 6. His last remaining teammate is about to die, and there we go, the IS-6. Yes, I know it was only a tier 8 tank, but there is a couple of low hit point tanks which is to his favor, I suppose. But when you're in a 1 versus 6 situation, it's not normally going to turn out good for you. You can try it as much as you can. I mean, this is what I always say, like, never give up. It's not over until the battle is literally over. Like, whether it's a 1 versus 7, 1 versus 6, or whatever you want to call it, it's never over until the last tank is gone. And this is what he's going to do. He doesn't give up at all. He's going to try and get whatever shots he can take. He's going to aim for the VK there, brings him down, but the IS-7 is now attacking, and he does actually get a nice bounce there. So he's got plenty of time. He does have plenty of time, and what he's doing here, he is trying to clear the lower hit point tanks. Now, there is the VK up there. Again, I wouldn't worry about that guy right now. I know he does take him out, but doing that, he is going to now take a shot from that FV. Yes, it is only 56 damage, but doing that also, he's going to take a shot from the IS-7, and he has to sort of he misses his shot there, but he tried going for that shot, and now he's going to have to take this guy out. But again, doing so, he does take another shot from the FV4202. So he has brought it down now to a 1 versus 3. The enemy have 2 cap points. The E75 is coming, and of course the IS-7 is there as well, and that was a nasty bounce there. So the only thing he can really do now is relocate. I mean, they have 2 bases, which is not good. If he can high roll on this Type 61, then that would be great. Maybe set him on fire. I don't think he can clear him with a single shot. 575 is the highest, but he does get a nice little ram there for the kill, and that is now 4 kills. So he's still sitting by. I love how aggressive he's actually being. He's not looking at running away. He wants to stay and fight these guys. But it's still hard. It's still hard. He needs to focus on one tank, but also just bear in mind that there is another tank around. And what he's doing here is amazing gameplay. He's trying to just separate the two and just try and deal with the one tank, which is exactly what he's doing. Now, this was absolutely fantastic play. And before you know it, it is a 1 versus 1. Yes, this guy has quite a lot of hit points, but if he can get around him and circle him, then he could have this game all by himself. He can win this game all by himself if he can just fire a few HE. But that was a nasty little ram. That was hard to watch. That was very hard to watch. How amazing was that? A 1 versus 6, and he almost had it. If he wouldn't have just rammed that tank there, he didn't mean to. He was trying to get around it, but ultimately that cost him the game, and that was very, very unlucky. Very unlucky. But Seek and Destroy, that was amazing. But fair enough, the IS-7 on the enemy team did actually have a very good game. So that was unlucky. You could have had 9k damage, but you know, you put up a good fight and you've done everything that you could do. 8,100 damage is nothing to be ashamed of, whether you win or lose. Next up, we are going to watch another FV4202 game by Supernova from the Risk clan. This time we are on Rockfield. Now we're just going to speed it up a little bit. As I've said, this tank is absolutely amazing, and when Wargaming buff this tank, it is only going to get better. But honestly, if you don't know how to use the Hesh, or if you don't like the Hesh, then yeah, don't just run the Hesh because it does more damage. Run the heat gun maybe. I mean, I'd always recommend the Hesh gun, but you need to know how to use the Hesh, and you need to bear in mind that you're going to get a few shots if you are running the Hesh. High risk, high reward. Sometimes it doesn't pay off, just as you see there, with only 16 damage. But sometimes it's worth that risk because of the damage that you can cause to the enemy if you do manage to get that Hesh shot out. So when Wargaming buff this tank, they are also buffing the tier 9 version of this, which is the Centurion 7.1. Now, the Centurion 7.1, I believe, is already a better tank because it has a better turret. It has exactly the same gun, so it's the same Hesh penetration, everything like that. The only difference between the Centurion and this is the Centurion is a lot slower. But Wargaming are now buffing the Centurion. They're buffing the speed of that tank. So that tank is going to be, in my opinion, is going to be overpowered. It is going to be a little bit OP. But you know, I love these tanks anyway, so a buff is more than welcome to any of these tanks that I play. Whether they need it or not, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people don't like the FV4202 or the Centurion, maybe because they don't know how to play the Hesh. If you just play it with the heat gun, it's just no different to any other medium, really. It's just another medium in tier 9 and tier 10. But what makes these tanks unique to the other medium tanks is that Hesh gun, and there is only a certain number of tanks in the game that has that proper Hesh gun, and that is the Death Star. Yes, you have the Conway and stuff like that, but they don't have the speed that these tanks have to get away, to get around tanks, and to deal 500 damage to tier 10 heavy tanks from the rear or from the side. That was a nice bounce there. And I mean, Supernova has got pretty lucky so far in bouncing 900 damage. If he wouldn't have bounced them, he would only literally be on 200 hit points, and that is only sort of 2.5 minutes gone. Now, he wants to stay this side of the map. He wants to clear this E100. It is a dangerous target, and they are losing, so they need to start clearing these tanks, and the E100 does get taken out from the E4. Now he can circle this, he can get behind this IS4, and he could probably get a HE shot there, but he's not risking it. He is going for the APCR, and the IS4 at the moment doesn't want to know him, so he's in a good position to deal with this this IS4 again. He is on the side, so he can actually HE this guy, which he is going to do there. As you can see, 437 damage into the side of an IS4, and again, he's not going for the HE there, but the IS4 has just shot, so he should have this guy on a reload, and he is going to get taken out. But the Foch is also there, who does take out the T-54. So again, He's always looking at getting to either the side of the tanks or the rear of the tanks, and that is an absolute must in something like the FV4202. Because of that HESH, you can almost guarantee the pen. If obviously you have a tank in front of you, there are going to be weak points. Of course, something like the Foch, the bottom plate, you will be able to take the shot off, but it's going to be, you're going to have to aim a lot more, a lot longer, and again, we're aiming a lot longer, you're going to be exposed for a lot longer. So getting around these tanks and dealing that HESH damage is an absolute must. Now, there is a 2 versus 2, 2 tanks left alive. One is the Death Star and one is a Waffle. So 2 juicy tanks for HESH. In fact, he only has APCR loaded. Against these 2 tanks, you can almost HESH anywhere on these tanks. As you're going to see, he is going to go for the HESH, but also the Death Star also has HESH, and it has a big gun. So that there was a nasty shot from to be taken. He didn't really need to take that, and before you know it, it is now a 1 versus 2, and he is just a one shot. Any of these tanks remaining can just fire a bit of HG at him and he will be gone. So he's now trying to go from distance. He's already had a decent battle, 4 kills and 6.8k damage, but there's still 2 tanks left alive and there's still a lot of work to do. He needs to really bait a shot, and that is exactly what he does from the Death Star. But taking this Death Star, he also needs to hide from the Waffle. Now again, he is in a better situation, that it is sort of 2 TDs, 2 sort of long reload TDs that are not together. One's one side of the map and one is the other side of the map. He just needs to catch one of these off guard, preferably the Death Star. He just needs to catch the Death Star off guard, maybe the Death Star to miss a shot, then he should be able to take him. If he can catch him like this, gets a nice shot there, brings the Death Star now down to a 1 shot. So he's actually pushing forward. I didn't see the Death Star there, but obviously he sees something that I didn't. So that was actually good awareness there from him, and he does manage to clear the Death Star. So 8,500 damage, and it's now just a 1 versus 1. It's going to take, if he can high roll, just 2 shots to clear this Waffle, but most likely 3 shots. But he needs to reset his camo, and he needs to be very careful. But unfortunately, didn't quite reset his camo. He thought he did. I thought he did. I didn't think he was spotted, but well played there from the Waffle, but very well played from our guy in the FV4202. 8,500 damage. The Waffle, or the Foch, sorry, had a decent game there as well on the enemy team, but that was very unfortunate. Just a little mistake there in thinking that he wasn't spotted. He was trying to spot the Waffle, but then again, I didn't think he was still spotted either. So very well played. I can't wait to play these tanks when they get buffed. It's not long, a couple of weeks, and these tanks are going to get much better. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm at meadsy69. Unlucky for these 2 guys, but you did very well. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.